guys, and welcome back to my channel. So this is not going to be a vlog. This is going to be a video of me talking basically about my journey from being lifetime natural to not a natural anymore. So what we mean when we say like lifetime natty or natural means I had never touched steroids, fat burners, any types of performance enhancing drugs. We'll call them PEDs for the sake of this video, up until this year. So I'm going to go through why, what, how, when, and I've done a Q&A on my Instagram as well, and I got some questions that I will answer here as well. So let's go way back, and throughout this I'll be inserting pictures of myself as a natural athlete to myself now as a non-natural athlete. So I was always natural. I was coached by, my first coach was a natural coach as well, and he was a natural competitor himself. So it was never something we really spoke about. I was aware that it was in the sport of bodybuilding. Of course, it's bodybuilding. It's literally a pro-drug sport. And I think the more people need to understand that. Unfortunately, and probably due to social media, the line is getting blurred between fitness influencers and bodybuilders, because so many bodybuilders, competitors are also online coaches, fitness influencers. They have a big following of people who don't compete. And the people who don't compete are shocked to know that actually their favorite influencer is on PEDs. But if you're a bodybuilder, it's very normal to be on PEDs. And I'm not going to be promoting PEDs, but I'm very happy to share my journey and the decisions that I made. It's up to the individual to make their own decisions. Do not by any means take this as a recommendation video or the promoting the use of PEDs in the fitness space, bodybuilding or not bodybuilding. So I did my first season, my first 3 years in bodybuilding. Completely natural, not even the use of fat burners. So not only not the use of anabolic steroids, but the use of no fat burners either, just natural fat burners, like you would see in green tea. I think there's green tea extract in L-carnitine. If anyone's taken L-carnitine, you'll know what I mean, but it's by no means clenbuterol. And I would absolutely advise girls who are first-time competitors to do natural seasons, at least 1 or 2, at least. I did 3 seasons natural, 4 years, 3 seasons, because I took 2021 off to build muscle. And although yes, I did build muscle and I did look different, you know, it's gonna take a bit longer than a few months of an off season to actually pack on the muscle that I need now to be competitive in bikini, because it is developing more and more muscularity every single year. And I think I had to face the reality that at some point, if I want to turn pro in the European space, especially, the girls are stacked. They're lean, they're dry, they're hard, and they're extremely muscular. They have dense muscle. So I made a decision last year that if I competed again, I would take steroids. So yeah, last year I was natural, and I remember this was the first year with my now coach, and she asked me, have you ever taken anything? Are you thinking about that? And I said, no, I haven't. And to be fair, I'm probably just going to stay natural, at least for this. And it was like, cool, perfect. Coaches that push you to take something, red flags. This is your decision and your decision only. Yes, it's worth a discussion with your coach if you want to go down that route, or if you want to become educated in PEDs, fine. But if you have a coach that's pushing you to take something that you know nothing about and you haven't done your own research or education on what it is you're trying to be pushed to take, then you need to take a step back, okay? But I've kind of gone on a tangent there. I was saying, I did my first 3 seasons and 4 years in bodybuilding natural. Now, I can't stress that enough. It's very important for natural athletes or beginners to actually do natural seasons to know how far they can push themselves naturally. Because how do you know if you haven't pushed your boundary where your limitations are as a natty? Because there are natural pros. There are girls who turn pro naturally, of course, in natural shows, or in up against open classes where it's not a natural show and you're competing against girls who are using PEDs. But if you have never done a show before, how do you even know, one, if you like it, and if it's worth taking a PED for something you don't even know if you want to pursue, because it could affect the rest of your life. And two, you have no idea what your natural abilities are currently. So I wouldn't rush into taking PEDs if you're a first-time competitor or even your first couple of seasons. I think it's definitely worth competing natural, and I'm really happy that I did my first 3 seasons naturally anyway. And I did well, and I got shredded, and I got first places. And I'll put in some pictures of myself on stage natural and myself just, throughout my preps. I still got super, super lean, especially last year. I was in good condition. I would have just liked perhaps the rear shot to be a bit leaner, but yeah. Anyway, last year I thought that was going to be my last year competing, but something happened and I really loved it. I love being on stage. I got this buzz. I felt happy. I felt elated. And I was like, whoa, I've never had this before. I loved competing, but I actually liked the prep more than the show day itself, because I used to get on stage and feel sick with nerves, shake like a leaf. And then last year I didn't have that. I felt really comfortable, and I knew that actually I'm feeling good and I kind of want to pursue this, but I want to take it seriously now, because having a pro card was never my be all end all of competing. And I didn't actually want my pro card last year. I didn't even think about it. But this year I've decided that no, this is what we're going to chase, and I'm going to do what I have to do. And it's like, you don't have to take PEDs, but for me to be competitive, I had to make a decision, and I did. And I made it for, myself, for no one else. So we made the decision that I would run an anabolic steroid in my off season. When food is highest, when my stimulus for building muscle is highest, it would be a very good idea for me then to utilize an androgen such as Anavar. So the only steroid I've taken is Anavar, which I'm not going to sit here and say it's the nicest steroid, but it's milder compared to other androgens. Lesser side effects, perhaps less harsher side effects. It's called the baby steroid. So I took Anavar. I did an 8-week cycle, and at 10 milligrams. So it's the lowest cycle, like lowest amount for the shortest amount of time. 8 weeks, perfect. What happens when you take harsh compounds, heavy doses for a prolonged period of time, is potentially going to run the risk of viralization for females, which is deepening of the voice, facial hair, enlarged clitoris, side effects that are masculine. Basically, what everyone thinks of when you think of a steroid, the side effects is you're going to end up looking like a man, which is only true if you take, like I said, extremely harsh doses of certain compounds and you run them for a prolonged period of time, and you're not keeping track, or you're okay with it, because there's obviously two ends, you're not keeping track of changes, photos, voice, decimal readings, that kind of stuff. But if you are almost okay with it, and you're a female bodybuilder competitor, not a bikini competitor, a bodybuilder, we have to be realistic at this point. They're not natural. Like, it's just, that's okay. Like, no one cares. It's bodybuilding. But you are going to run the risk of male side effects, which is why, certain females have deeper voices. Certain females maybe wouldn't be showing their downstairs anymore. Their physical changes. Now, these changes are undoable. That's permanent. So it's very important, if you are going to take an anabolic steroid, that we are consistently tracking these types of things to make sure that we do not cross that road. I know it was very important to me. I had a boundary that those side effects were not something I wanted to deal with. I did not want my voice to get any deeper. I did not want my clit to get any bigger. I'm sorry, we're going way in detail in here, but it is what it is. Facial hair and Adam's apple, those types of things was like, oh my God, no. So I did the last 8 weeks of my off season, a cycle. So when that off season finished, boom, Anavar came out and I started prep. Now in prep, we decided to put in clenbuterol and yohimbine, which are two fat burners targeting slightly different fat cells. Like I said, I've never taken a fat burner before, and there are side effects to clenbuterol. I haven't found them bad at all, to be honest, but it's increased sweating when I do my cardio, definitely. Potentially jitters, that anxiety feeling, shaking. I haven't had any of those side effects. I sweat, because I'm pushing myself regardless, but the jitters and the anxiety, no, thank goodness, isn't something that I've suffered with. It's also obviously important that before you're thinking about doing these things or you're running them currently, that you're doing your bloods, you're getting your bloods monitored, and you are aware of your levels to compare throughout your season, off season, or in season, whatever it might be, your prep. So that's what I'm currently taking. We're not taking any steroids right now. I stopped, like I said, when prep started, and I'm just taking fat burners to get me shredded. Do not be fooled, fat burners will not work, and they're PED, like it's a harsher fat burner. It's not just clenbuterol. It's not just L-carnitine. It's, a harsher fat burner. So it's not like someone asked me what do you think of OxyShred fat burners? Do they work? And I'm like, no, but they don't work anyway. The clen wouldn't work if I wasn't in a deficit. You have to be in a deficit to lose fat regardless. But what they do is speed up your metabolism. Acting as a thermogenic, I am burning more calories than I would be if I wasn't, because my metabolism is working. So let's go on and do a Q&A here. This is the little version of Monster. Okay. Got the Q&A up here. What are the signs of a female bodybuilder on PEDs? So, like I said, unless you're crossing that boundary and you've done what I mentioned, which was taking an extremely harsh compound for a long period of time, will you actually see side effects? Would you know that I was on PEDs? If I was fully clothed and my shoulders weren't on show, would you think I was on PEDs because of the way that I look or the way that I sound? Probably not. Let's be honest. But the only way to tell is that, potentially extreme muscle mass, deeper voice, facial hair, an Adam's apple, a very big, defined jaw, almost a masculine jaw. Think of Lord Farquaad from Shrek. That could potentially be signs of PEDs, but you wouldn't straight away know, but that's only the extreme. So you wouldn't straight away know that someone like myself or your favorite fitness influencer was using PEDs because they are discreet, or there's no changes at all because you run short cycles, sporadically. What negative side effects have you experienced with PEDs, if any? None. None. I have no negative side effects. The anabolic side of it, none. I felt really strong. My pumps were insane. Now I do sound like I'm an advocate for it, but I had a very good experience with Anavar. And I've had a very good experience with clenbuterol and Yohimbine. No real side effects. I can feel sometimes after I've taken it and I've had too much coffee, then I might be like, oh, I need to eat something. But no real side effects for me, no negative side effects there. Would you consider using PEDs off season as well? So yeah, I did. That's exactly what I did. I used 8 weeks at the end of my off season when my calories were extremely high. I was pushing for big numbers, big weights, and I had the most potential surplus and stimulus in order to build muscle. Pop that in with an anabolic steroid, and my muscle mass increased because of that. Like I said, I'm 4 kilos heavier compared to my prep. We're both now 4 weeks out, 4.5 weeks out. I'm 4 kilos heavier this year, and we're now surpassing my level of condition from show day 4 weeks out, and I'm still heavier. And I know that I've built some upper body, which is the main thing that I wanted, was to really have more balance, because glutes and legs, yeah, sure, they needed to come up, but they were always on the bigger side. But my upper body was not as balanced as my lower. So to have that complete, bikini look is all about that balance. I needed more upper body. And I was, like I said, I was happy to take it. I was in no way pressured or told. So I'm happy with my decision, definitely. Where did you get recommendations and research from when considering? So it came from a few people who are known in the area. One of them is a girl called Corey. She has an insane Instagram account, which is just kind of like mine, all reels, but it's reels on PEDs. She's very educated on that, as well as my coach being very educated in that, as well as myself having taken courses on how to not administer, but on how to advise someone who was interested in PEDs. It was covered in a prep course that I did, so I know at least the basics of a lot of PEDs, but obviously the ones that I chose, I know more about. But it just came down from really doing my own research and obviously being taught by a professional who has a very good background in PEDs as well. But it's learning from other people and learning yourself and doing your own research as to what might be the one that would be good for me. And then it comes down to recommendations from the coach that I did my like prep course with, basically, on how to prep other people. I don't think I feel comfortable enough to recommend it to other people, but I've had the discussion with people as to what I took, but I've never put any of my clients on PEDs because I don't feel like I need to. I'm a lifestyle coach. If I was to move into a prep coach, and obviously that's something I would educate myself even more on. So if someone did come to me and like me say, I want to do this, then I at least would know where to guide someone if I had to. Are there any safe online UK-based websites you purchase from? Myself, no. I go through my coach. I hope she's okay with me saying that. But they obviously have pharmaceutical grade access to these drugs. So yeah, I go through them. I wouldn't be going on the dark web to find stuff because you just do not know what's in it. Again, I wouldn't go to my local, and I don't even know who my local gym, because everyone's like, the guy at the gym, the big guy at the gym always sells the roids. Like, I wouldn't even know where to start. Someone did reach out to me on Instagram and tell me if I needed anything, they could get it for me. But again, I would be very hesitant. I have a very trustworthy source, obviously. And I don't think I would trust anyone sliding in my DMs offering me steroids. Wild. Yeah, I would not go down that route. So you really need to have a reputable, really need to have a good source when it comes to stuff like that. It's super important. Obviously, I've decided to put that in my body. I mean, it was months ago now, if you think about it, but yeah, I was going to make sure that it was the best stuff that you could possibly get in that line of stuff. So yeah, that kind of sums up my experience and my journey with PEDs, why I decided to take them. Of course, like I said, is to be competitive, is to have bigger delts, is to finally accept that this is what I wanted to do, and I'm very happy with my decision. I stand by my decision. It was a very good decision for me because I'm very happy with how my physique is. Now I can see the improvements that I've made. I still work damn hard. I'm very open about it as well. I don't put it on every single story, like, because you don't need to do that, but I have mentioned it before, and I will be mentioning it again, I'm sure. Sometimes I understand why I hold back a little bit is because people will jump to the conclusion that just because you took the steroid is because the way you look, which is kind of sad because actually, like I said, for years, I was natural and I competed natural and I was proud of that. And you can still take steroids and look shit, by the way. Not everyone wins a show just because they're not natural anymore. So people are just going to go, oh, she took steroids, that's how she looks the way she looks, when it's actually not true. It's a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears go into our physiques. Is it going to give me the edge, potentially? Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. But yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to cover. really. So if you have any questions, or if this was a good video, you like this style of video, I can do different topics, and I can go into more detail. Obviously, I'm gonna have more videos like this, kind of talking about different things, but this is the first one, so I hope it was useful. And again, just a disclaimer, I'm not pushing anyone to take what I take or do what I did. Understand that I am a bikini athlete who is hopefully turning pro this year, and I'm not the only one. Okay, so yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll soon be doing a prep vlog again for this 4 weeks out. I need to get a bigger memory card. I was actually gonna do that today. I'm gonna have to, because I won't have any memory now to film the rest of my day going back to Norfolk. So I'm gonna do that, and then in the meantime, well, my next upload will be on Sunday for my 4 weeks out vlog. So peace out.